experience the full power of the dark side. Good!
We will deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
What the? Lisa back.
Prepare to fire.
Oh no!
Hello and welcome back to Star Wars Beyond the Stars for episode number 3, recorded on Monday, August 25th, 2014. I'm your host, Fred, aka Sith Lord Corv. And joining me this week is my number 2 compadre, Lou.
Hello, Fred. Hello, everyone. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. What's going on?
Hey Lou, how are you tonight?
Not too bad. How are things?
Well, we'll find out as soon as we turn it over to Paige, aka Captain Kimbre.
I'm glad you acknowledge my rank as the captain. Hello, everyone.
Well, captain does mean significantly less to a smuggler than a trooper.
Stop talking.
And Zizi the Bounty Hunter's here too.
Hello, I hunt bounty.
As well as ID10T. And Shriek.
Get Trick away from me!
She's right where she wants to be.
My lap is not place for Trick.
Okay, everybody calm down. I will turn this ship around and we will go home.
We don't have a home. Technically, if it wasn't for the Crimson Seabiscuithawk, we'd be homeless.
Maybe you'd be. I have my own ship.
You used to. We scrapped it.
What?
And as a reminder, we offer free shout-outs, so if anybody wants us to shout anything out, birthdays, anniversaries, just go ahead and shoot us an email to starwarsbeyond@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to shout you out. And our show is also now available in both iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook as well at facebook.com/StarWarsBeyondPodcast. And you can tweet us at StarWarsBeyond. And we record this show live on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/NoSHTGaming. And just so everybody knows, next week is a federal holiday, so we will not be recording the show, though we will be doing our usual gameplay on Tuesday nights. So our next episode will be 2 weeks from tonight.
The government tells us when we can record.
The Empire tells us when we can record.
For the Empire.
That was perfect, Lou.
And also what propaganda to spread.
So what do we have coming up, speaking of propaganda, in the Captain's Log tonight?
Coming up in the Captain's Log, we have our week in game, Galactic Strongholds Early Access, Food for Thought, Expansion 3.0, Agent Olan's Intelligent Report, which will have Lou present the Galactic Republic Part 5, plus the weekly winner of the Agent Star Wars Trivia Question of the Week, and your feedback in our community holo feed.
But we also have something quick to mention. And what we're going to mention tonight is the next Community Cantina. Alright, and this is straight from BioWare, from their site. We're happy to announce that the next stop in the Star Wars The Old Republic Community Cantina Tour will be happening on Sunday, August 31st, 2014. This is your chance to join the Star Wars The Old Republic community for a development team Q&A, as well as complimentary drinks, food, and giveaways. Every attendee will be receiving a highly coveted M83R astromech code. free pet. So if you're in the area, make sure to stop by and hang out with us. All right, this is the venue. It's at the Grand Hyatt in Seattle. The rooms are Rooms Princessa 1 and 2. That's Rooms Princessa 1 and 2. Again, the date's going to be Sunday, August 31st. The time is going to be from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. Pacific. All right. The address of the hotel is 721 Pine Street in Seattle, Washington, United States. Zip code 98101. Space will be limited, so be sure to arrive early. You can RSVP on Facebook here, on their Facebook page if you want. Now, the Facebook RSVP is not required, and it doesn't guarantee admittance either. Just so you know. We look forward to seeing you there. Star Wars: The Old Republic Community Team. Now, please be warned that this is an adult event, and all attendees must be 18 years old or older to participate, and please be prepared to show ID.
Very good. And moving into our gameplay of the week. Oh, I see, ZZ. You've been up to your money-making Ponzi schemes again.
Ponzi schemes.
I got 500,000 credits, guys.
Nice.
It was a long and arduous. Actually, no, it wasn't very long, nor was it arduous. But you know, I got 500,000 credits. It happened on one character too.
Excellent.
Not like split amongst everyone else. Now I can pay back super hot.
I don't think that the HUD's going to settle just for what he gave you.
Oh no, he's gonna want 10 times that. So
Yeah. Charge you interest and everything.
My next goal is 5 mil. We'll see what happens.
Then you got to give all that to Supa?
No.
Flat out, no.
No, I'm keeping that money. Once I'm rolling in 5 million credits, I'm out of there. Okay, so my main character, my Sith Marauder, got to level 25. I've just been running flashpoints here and there, not really doing any of the planetary stories. Just kind of focusing on the class story, and I want this to be my first character to get up to 55. So yeah, and then I got all my gathering crew skills up to 200 on that character, which is very useful because they're just about 60 levels above what they should be at level 25.
Yeah, I was about to say, you already have all your gathering skills to 200. That's actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That is one thing I always slacked in all my characters to this day.
Well, we'll get to my Jedi in a few minutes, but I've been working on his crafting as well, and I'm just barely hitting 300 on him, and he's almost level 50. So you're doing very well.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seems I enjoy crafting in this game a lot more than in other MMOs because it's like sending out somebody else to do your work for you. Right? And I'm all about that, paying people to get me things.
Easy, you master of delegation, you.
Yeah. And then our leveling group, I think all of our characters got to level 15. And I've been just having fun healing, and now that I actually have actual healing skills, I'm better at it. Amazing.
You let me die.
So? You chose to die.
I didn't choose for you not to heal me. And I'm like, am I a lot easier to heal now? And you're like, yeah. And then I die. Because you didn't try.
Sounds like your fault, Fred.
I mean, I was shooting you with that little, I don't know, stim thing.
You shoot
Feels
bullets
like-
at me to try to heal me.
Literally 25 health per like
Man, it's
3 shots.
By like level 50, you'll be healing for at least 35.
Amaze! I'm looking forward to healing 35 health per bullet rather than 25 health per bullet. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah. And then I made a third character, an alt, and she's a Twi'lek Shadow.
Lou is
Yes.
rubbing off on you.
No, I'm actually trying to plan out like a family tree and stuff now. I'm getting
She
into
going
the
light
entire.
side?
No, she's dark side.
Alright, you're still safe.
I still approve.
I want to know what the Dark Side Sage story is, or Shadow story is. Although it's the same thing, right?
It would be the Dark Side Inquisitor story.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, it is the same thing.
I'm new to this game. Bear with me. And yeah, I pulled out a spreadsheet the other day, and I figured out which crew skills I need for my next 4 characters, so that I have all of my crafting skills and all of the associated gathering. I just figured out which ones I need for all of my characters, so that I have all of the materials within
your grasp. You don't need to go to the GTN and buy from other players and pay the ridiculous prices.
No.
That's how you keep your money. Stay off the GTN.
Exactly.
But you pulled out a spreadsheet. You're real serious about this.
Mm-hmm.
He's planning this out like it's an actual project. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, because I have nothing to spend my time elsewhere.
You just started college. I have nothing else to do. I only just started college today.
Yeah,
whatever.
No. Whatever.
Hey, that's all right. If he has the free time, let him do what he wants to do.
He's got 500,000 credits. What's he need college for?
Exactly. I can live off of that.
500,000 credits in the Star Wars universe is poverty levels.
Okay.
I mean, not at level 25, but when you get to level 50, if that's all you have, you need to be holding a cardboard sign on the fleet.
I'll make sure to do that if my money levels drop that low at some point.
We'll force choke for food.
Or just enjoy yourself. I had to do a daily circuit across the entire galaxy because of the galactic map and SWTOR.
And then, yeah, I haven't touched Strongholds at all, nor have I touched Galactic Starfighter or PvP. I'm still figuring things out.
Oh, don't worry. One of these weeks, we're going to slate some PvP into our group play.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's going to be fun.
Okay.
Paige really loves PvP lately. Speaking of which, what have you been up to over the last week, Paige?
I wanted to throw this in here before I get into like my in-game antics. I want to take a moment to throw Jay under the bus. Fred, you were here for this, so you know how ridiculous it was. We were in TeamSpeak. Well, I was in TeamSpeak with Fred and Jay for like 2 hours. And Fred was saying something about how I'm like the least modest person in the world. And Jay suddenly goes, "Wait, you're the captain on the show." Okay, what the hell, Jay? Of course I'm the captain. You think the ship flies itself? Should shoot his knees out for that. And then, like, the icing on the cake is, he's like, "Is your Twitter handle even mentioned on the show? Do you even listen to the show?" I'm just kidding. It was nice talking to Jay. That was the first time I've ever met him. And he might be my spirit animal, because if it's possible, he gives less shidukis than I do about, like, everyone's feelings.
Well,
we were talking about how we just didn't care about anything.
I just hope that Jay's enjoying this, the last episode he's going to be willing to listen to.
Why is that?
Because you just rolling the bus right over him just there.
Yeah, and then I said it was nice talking to him. I really don't think he'll take it seriously. If he does, then he's a big old weenie.
It's like when you drive a lightsaber
anyway.
through somebody's heart, and then you go, "Nice match."
I'm going to move on from that. I did have a blast playing with you guys. I know people can't see the live stream right now because of the technical issues we're having, but anyone watching on YouTube can see that we're on Drome and Kos. And Lou was kind enough to show us a heroic area that I've never been to. I've never discovered that. And ZZ and Fred had mentioned before that Fred had died. After he dies, he's trying to coach us through the fight. We're fighting this champion. And he's like, "Paige, you heal Lou while ZZ's building his resources." And then he's like, "ZZ, you heal Lou while Paige is building her resources." And like, when I'm really focused, I can't have someone talking to me like that. So I just screamed at him. I was like, "Shut up, we don't need you for this, you're dead." And like, terrible things like that don't sound bad in my head, and then they come out, but then it's kind of too late. But Fred should be used to that. I would hope that he knows I don't mean it. I'm sorry.
As people can discover now, I was forcibly made to go to the dark side.
One of the last things I wanted to share was that I did do a ton of PvP this week on my healing operative on Jedi Covenant. And this is one of those parts where I'm not going to be modest, because when I'm the top damage, top kills, and top heals, I mean, really, guys? And did we win? Of course we did. I was on the team. I did get to do a few arena matches, and that was really fun because, like I said last week, PvP for me is all about ruining the other team's day. Like, if I can just troll them, it just makes me happy. And on a side note, going back to Jay, since he's Republic and he likes to PvP, I will find you, and I will kill you. And you'll know it's me by the way I stalk and murder you. Because you can't run from me, and you can't hide from the Empire. So I'll be seeing you soon, buddy.
Wow. Jay just got really outed as being a Republic.
Quick,
right.
somebody check if there's a bounty on this gentleman.
Lou, save us. What did you do over the last week, man?
I'm doing a bunch of things. Well, mostly I've been working on my operative, and I finally got around to finishing the dailies. Oh, well, I should say unlocking the dailies. So I finished the main initial storyline that you get when you first get onto Oricon, and I unlocked all the dailies except the one I still have to do, the Heroic +2, which is called Clipping Wings. So I'm not going to ruin it if anyone hasn't done it yet, but yeah, that's the one I need to do, and I unlocked the Heroic daily for Oricon as well. So probably later on this week I'll get around to, probably doing a quick pug, or maybe you guys, if you decide to get on there and just knock that one out. One thing I do want to say though about Oricon, it reminds me also of the Zerka planet, right? The Zerka daily, KCZ 198. In that Oricon, yeah, it looks open, but it feels so narrow the way it's designed. That map is designed. It's so narrow and confined. And for the life of me, I really wish BioWare would design zones from now on with more openness in mind. Like Makeb, when you go in Makeb, yeah, there's some open spots, but for the most part, Makeb is all narrow areas that you're forced your funnel to go into, right? You're always hampered by these possibly high walls, whether it's a built structure in the game or a natural wall or trees or whatever BioWare decides to put in the scenery to stop you from moving around. But I feel like these maps, they just funnel you, from place to place to place, and to me, that gets boring after a while. It's like, you know what, allow me to bypass some stuff if I don't want to fight. Because that's exactly what happens when you want to walk into Oricon. I have to fight through things just to get to where I got to go. And after a while, that just gets boring.
I'm kind of running
boring,
into the same issue on Boss, too. The way that the mobs are positioned, it's like you can't go around them unless you're a stealth class.
Right. And to me, that's like you're for either faction, only 1 out of 4 can get through most of the stuff without having to, go through useless bunches of trash mobs. Great, it's there, you can get, loot and some credits off them, but for me, it's just a time sink that's just not necessary. If players want to bypass it, we'll give them the option to do so, without having to resort to stealth. Give us other ways to get around these areas without being funneled or forced being funneled into, having to fight things you don't have to. Enough on that. One other thing I did want to mention too about the Oricon Dales, and I noticed that they only give out 2 commendations, only 2, as opposed to everywhere else they give you at least 3. If I remember correctly, Elam gives you 3. All right, Corellia, Belsavis. What they have you do on Oricon is like, only give you 2 commendations. To me, that's just a cheap move. It's kind of like when you do the dailies on Elam. You know how much those are worth? Like, those are worth 10,000 credits, but then when you go over everywhere else, it's only worth 8,000. Like, wait a minute. A daily is a daily, regardless. Keep them all the same, or I guess make some changes somewhere down the line.
When the game first launched, didn't the Belsavis dailies pay out the same amount that the Elam ones did?
Gosh, I don't remember.
I think at some point they nerfed Belsavis because those were the ones everybody was doing, and they left Elam up where it was because nobody does it.
In a way, I can see why they changed Belsavis, because Belsavis is still a lower level area than Elam. But for me, they could have also bumped up the level of the mobs in the dailies area for Belsavis, but, I'm not a programmer, I'm not BioWare, so I'm not going to speak for them, but they really should make an effort to keep parity. Especially Oricon. Oricon and CZ, that level of difficulty is not hard, but it's it's level 55. Make them the same payout as Elam, 10,000 per. at least.
They should pay better than Ilum because they are 5 levels higher.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. They should be more than 10,000. At least 12, 15. Come on, give us something to do, or make it worth our while. Unless it honestly is just going to be. Yeah, and we all know what it is. It's another credit and time sink. It's a grind. I mean, I don't mind doing them, but again, make it commensurate. Make it at least 10,000 credits, and give us an accommodation. Make it 3 instead of just the 2. That's just my own personal feeling. And I'm also, while I'm there, I'm also going for a new look on the operative. Because one of the pieces of gear that I got from when I first went to Oricon was the Dread Scout look. And I think the first piece I got was the chest piece, which is the Dread Scout TD21A chest piece. And I went on the GTN and also through one of the SWTOR sites to see what the actual overall look when you get the entire set looks like. So I figured, you know what? I'll go for that look. And it's going to be a nice change from the typical Imperial officer look I've always had in my character since the early days. Since the game launched, actually. I've always shot for the stereotypical Imperial officer look on my operative. So this will be a nice change of pace for her. On the same token, got my Sith Marauder and my Sorcerer to Oricon as well. I just started the initial storyline quest there. Because I figured, since I have the Season 1 I also want to get them started on Oricon, because since that is another source of income. Nice upgrades are there as well, and a good way to get credits.
I have to ask, Lou, how many characters did you play through McKeb with simultaneously?
Let's see. So far, actually, no. To be fair, I've only done it. I don't do it simultaneously. What I do with my characters, I take one, and I go through the entire storyline. So, since my operative is my main, I literally when Rise of the Cartel released, I got her first, and I finished the entire storyline in McKeb with her first. And then I went back, hopped on my Marauder, same thing. Started from the beginning, worked my way all the way through the end of McKeb. And then I went back and did it again with my Sorcerer, and then with my Sentinel, and now I'm going to do it again with my Trooper.
Okay, I had a feeling that you were taking all these characters through there, all at the same time, and I just kept having flashbacks to when I would have 2 characters on Balmora at the same time.
Oh, no, I've run into that problem before in other MMOs, and I've learned, just take one character and go through the entire storyline. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that you kind of burn yourself out by repeating the same stuff but on different characters. It's still the same content, but after a while you get sick of it. So in order for me to prevent that, I always just take one character, stick with that character, and finish that goal I set for myself in that character, and then go back and do it again. So for me, then it'll be a week or 2, maybe 3 weeks that I haven't seen the starting content. So for me, again, it'll be a fresh new look on it, so to speak. Again, the Sorcerer, along with Oricon, I started going back doing more of the older dailies, like again, Ilum, Belsavis, Corellia, CZ198, because I'm now starting to work on her as well in upgrading her gear and Chem Vals. My Power Tech finally finished up the bonus quest on Balmora, because I went back, my quest OCD kicked in, so I had to finish the bonus quest on Balmora.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had to do it. I couldn't stand seeing it in my quest journal, so I went back, finished it, and now finally landed in Nar Shaddaa. And I started the storyline there. And however, thanks to Double XP Weekend, I am 3 levels above everything in Nar Shaddaa initially. So I'm like, wow, everything's green. Okay, shouldn't be too bad. But I kind of hate that feeling. It's like, I've already over leveled everything. By the time I get to the end of Nar Shaddaa, it'll just be not exactly faithful, but it'll be relatively easy for me to finish.
Yeah, definitely. I know when I got to Voss, when I first got there, I was the same level as the mobs, so I actually did KDY until I got about 3 levels up on them, and it was like night and day. Once they turned green, I could just stomp them into the dirt.
Exactly. I mean, I don't mind doing that, but some parts of me also realize, I also want this to be a bit of a challenge to figure out, how to do this fight, or have that virtual fear in the back of my head saying, oh, I can't do this right now. My character's a little too weak or not as strong, And then lastly, for Galactic Strongholds, Right now, I have 3 of them. I had my operative claim the Nar Shaddaa Sky Palace, and I also had her buy the stronghold on Droman Kaz. So I got those 2 going so far for the Imperial faction, and then I had my Sentinel buy the stronghold on Coruscant. And as of now, all 3 are just bare bones, meaning whatever default furniture and items we got for me to early access and being subscribers, that's it. That's all that's in those strongholds right now is just that.
Did you go to the Cartel Bazaar and get the housing item that they put on the vendor for 1 credit?
No, not yet. Not yet. I got so wrapped up in doing all the other quests for my character that I haven't gone back to the fleet in a while. So I definitely have to go back sometime, tonight or tomorrow and get caught up on that and put some more stuff in the house.
Oh, yeah. The housing, like you put in the notes, it's going to be a long-term project.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a long time to fill up all those hooks. I mean, there's some people out there now that basically just took a whole bunch of chairs and filled up every single hook that they could just to get the 100% completion.
Right.
Or plastered posters all over the wall.
Really?
But, yeah. I guess that's the easiest thing to get a whole bunch of, so people are going that route.
Hey, if it works, it works.
I didn't even think it was worth mentioning what I had done in my stronghold. I walked in, I put up 2 Imperial banners, and then I saw how much space I had, and I was like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this. I mean, I didn't even decorate my own house. The most we've done is put some posters on the wall in the computer room.
Oh. See, I don't do it in real life. I can't expect to do it in my virtual life here.
I know.
Well,
you need to be able to hire a droid interior designer and be like, look, dude, just make it cool.
I was very disappointed with the amount of decorations that I had right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can do trade skills and do a bunch of other things to actually get decorations from the vendors on the fleet, but the ones that they give you right off the bat, I had very few of them compared to what I felt like I should have. But I guess a lot of my flashpoint kills of the bosses and everything, I probably did those way back before the achievement system was even in place.
Well, see, to me that shouldn't matter. I mean, it's already been recorded on your characters. So the system, so it's me, saying that the system should be able to tag you and reward you for those achievements.
Well, no, that's just like a lot of the people that actually have the achievements from having done the operations. They didn't get the furniture items. They actually have to go back and run the operations again to get the furniture.
Oh, God. To me, that's annoying.
It's another method of trying to expand the lifespan of the content. That's what it is. They're trying to give you incentive to run old content again. And people are doing it, so it's serving its purpose. Okay, so I'll tell you what I did this week now. I got my Sith Juggernaut that's in the leveling group up to 15, like everybody else. And we're about 2/3 of the way done with Droman Kaz now. We're up to the Revanite camp, and we just have to finish up the Revanites and then do the Dark Temple area. And then we'll be on to Lou's favorite planet, Balmora.
Oh, God.
Oh, won't it be amazing, Lou? Because at the rate that our leveling characters go, this is going to be like a 2-month project. Project Balmora.
Yeah, Project Balmora. The unwanted project. Damn them.
Every character that you level up from that point on, as soon as they get to Balmora, you're just going to delete them and reroll.
No, I'll probably wait for double XP weekend and just get the hell out of there.
Double XP weekend and then just do KDY until you outlevel Balmora.
Yep, and just do the class quest and move on.
I wouldn't even blame you. Except if you do it on the Republic side, that way you're hitting Alderaan right away.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's the other way around, I think. I don't know, I just remember they were back to back and it was horrible. Yeah, I think it is the other way around. I think you go to Alderaan and then you finish up Chapter 1 and then you start with Balmora in Chapter 2. On the Republic.
Right, yeah, Republic side, yeah. Then you start off in Bugtown.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was horrible. I had nightmares. But my Jedi Guardian, who was in the low 40s last week, is now up to level 49. And about a third of the way through it, so I'll probably get him to level 50 tonight when we're done with the show.
Nice.
Then I can finally make my Mira Luca Sith Inquisitor, which I'm really looking forward to that. I'm probably going to hit PvP pretty hard on him because I actually sent Jacob from Deltia's Gaming an email, and he told me that, no, Sith Inquisitors actually don't suck at PvP. Which has been the case for every other character that I've ever played in PvP. He's like, yeah, you probably should re-roll if you don't have 50 hours on that character.
Oh, man.
Yeah. He's told me that in a couple games now. It still breaks my heart equally every time. And that's about what I've done this week. Other than I should mention that we did the Galactic Gamers Coalition yesterday.
Oh, excellent. Who'd you guys have there?
We had Heather and JT from Corellian Run Radio. And we had Chuck and Brian from the Bad Feeling Podcast. We had Tio from UtiniCast, Rode from ToroCast, and myself.
Excellent.
And I hope that I'm not forgetting anybody because I'm sure I'll never hear the end of it if I do. We spent probably 20 minutes of that episode throwing Chuck and Brian under the bus for not mentioning certain podcasts on their own show when they listed off all the podcasts in the community.
God.
Yeah. So I hope that bus isn't coming for me next.
Oh, I'm sure it will. We can expect it. Oh no.
You should listen to that, though, Luke, because I actually rolled the bus under you when Rode asked why I didn't do the Manon flashpoint yet.
Oh, nice. Yeah, speaking of that.
That needs to be on our list of things to do over the next couple weeks before our next show.
Yeah, we should try that. Well, we should do it on both factions.
Or at least one. I want to see it. And
Yeah.
I've been waiting to get in there with you.
Yeah, I'll probably run on my Imperial characters, though, because my Imperial characters are the most, are the best outfitted for running stuff, so.
We'll talk about that later. So, guys, Galactic Strongholds officially launched. Well, the early access did.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I gather, none of us have really invested a whole lot of time in these strongholds yet. I got in, I went to the Nar Shaddaa stronghold that I was given on Jedi Covenant, and I started riffling through my available decorations. I completely filled up an entire room with little vanity pets. And then I filled up another room with different kinds of speeders, which I was very sadly disappointed that the broken down speeder from the Chevin event isn't able to be placed as a decoration.
What are you talking about? No, I put mine down.
Mine was not in my list, and I was there on my agent that has it.
Yeah, I put mine down just to see it because I think it's funny to look at. But then I picked it back up because I was like, no, you can't go there. Because I'm crazy.
Maybe I'm just bugged because I went through my whole window looking for that one specifically, and it wasn't in there. And I know for a fact that's who I have it on because that's the character that you actually used the currency or gave me the currency or whatever so I could actually get that on him.
Yep.
And they still never made that thing 110% speed.
Yeah.
I have a couple speeders on my Marauder and on my agent that I like the speeders, but their speed is still, 100%.
Well, by this point, they should just make every speeder in the game adaptable. I see no point in having ones that are slow anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They should just scale with your skill. Am I wrong? Can anybody think of a reason why we need slow speeders?
No.
No, you're right. I mean, every speeder should at least, obviously go through the progression all the way up to 3, which is 110%. And I don't know how hard that would be to code, but again, from what I see, it shouldn't be that difficult. I just change every speeder and adapt it to all right, you know what? Instead of making these old models, these model speeds that we have from when the game first launched till today, just make them across the board. All right, they all scale. One broad sweep, make it easy for everyone.
You gotta have the very first speeders that are available to still be 90%, 100%, and then yeah.
They could be 90% when you have speeder piloting 1, but then as soon as you train to a higher speeder piloting, it should go faster.
Money sink? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why they do that. It is again, it's another money sink, and I guess a level sink, since you have to be a certain level to get those that training open to you. So
Come on, how's it a money sink when you get that stupid Lucky 77 speeder in the mail? The scales. I think anybody that's been playing this game and has been a subscriber for any length of time probably has at least one speeder that gets mailed to every character that they make.
oh yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah,
you would still have the money sink because people would go after those speeders just for the unique look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What really is annoying is like the flashpoint where you actually fight Revan. He drops a speeder, and I have that speeder on a character, but it's only good for speeder piloting 2, so I never use it.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Paige has that one too, I think.
Oh,
Well,
I don't remember.
now that'd be something you'd probably put in your garage, or not even bother to display at all.
It's probably something that I just logged away because it became irrelevant when it didn't scale up.
Yeah, I think it's another long spur like the collector's edition one,
Mm-hmm.
but a different paint job and all that.
Okay, but would you still put it in your garage and stronghold, or would you just not even bother to put it up?
Oh, I
Mount
would
it somewhere.
display it. I'd display any of them that I could.
Okay. Oh, and going back to what we were talking about stronghold, I noticed when I was reading the forums the past couple of days, I know there was a thread about strongholds, and I think it deals with the garage, or the ships that go in the hangar bay. Because I'm trying to remember correctly that if you don't just put your ship there, if you've got it, you actually have to gather materials, and you actually have to put something together for you to mount your ship in the hangar bay that comes with the stronghold. And from what I remember on that thread, when you're done with that particular project, it's not your actual ship. So if you're an agent, you're going to get the Phantom, but the original poster actually put a comparison side shots, okay, of what the actual ship looks like in game, okay, and in this case he used his real character, his Jedi's character, the Defender, and what the Defender looks like in the Stronghold, and the size difference is very noticeable. It's like it's not your actual ship. For all intents and purposes, I think his main argument is the fact that it's not your ship that you're putting in there. You're just putting in a scale model. That's all you're doing in hangar bay.
Like if you had built a Lego's TIE fighter in your garage, it's not really a TIE fighter. It's just
Right. It'd be like, I think, it's something more along the lines of, you have an actual hangar, but you probably own an F-16, but for whatever reason, you can only put like a half-scale model of your F-16 in your hangar. It's like, wait a minute.
She said that for a reason, Lou, because there's actually a picture where somebody built, an X-Wing in their garage with Legos.
Well, what's wrong with that? I think that's perfectly normal.
It's really, really cool, but when you're done, then what? Because you can't take it apart, and then, it's in your garage. I mean, what do you do? Eventually, everyone you know has already seen it, so you can't be like, oh my god, come in the garage and look what I built, because I've seen it.
Post it on Reddit.
And then what?
Exactly.
Then you post it on eBay and sell it.
And then you have to take it apart to ship it. There's some assembly required.
No, you just do one of those local pickup deals. Only
That's like
available
saying,
for local pickup.
Here's my Lego Crimson Seabiscuithawk. Can't actually park it in the garage, but this is what it looks like.
Warning, not flyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Experiences may differ amongst people, but
Hey, it was to scale. You could at least sit in it, maybe.
well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think some other folks in that same thread posted their own shots and said, this is one guy actually was an agent. He showed you a photo of him in the docking bay on the fleet, what the Phantom looks like in game, He's on the ramp, so you see how small, or I guess how tiny your character is in comparison to your actual ship, your starship. And then he showed himself. All right, this is what when I built the fan and put it in my stronghold. This is what it looks like. And my God, he's almost bigger than the ship. No, like it's like the. It was like he was stepping into, I wouldn't say Munchkin Land, but he was getting pretty damn close to it.
Wow. I mean, if that's the case and the ship is that small, they should have only let you put Galactic Starfighter ships in there. Because at least a single fighter ship would actually make sense to be like that.
Right, or in some case, for some folks that actually read that and did their own comparisons, they're like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just not going to bother opening the garage for the rest of my characters, because then that's the waste of time and credits. Yeah. You know, if it's only going to look like that, as opposed to, all right, this is what, you know, the KDY D5 looks like on a bounty hunter, but no, it's going to look just like this in your extra stronghold. No, thank you.
And it's funny, they say the Drummond Cost and Coruscant, you don't get the ship hook. Nope. Why? Because you can't open a window and let that little thing fly in?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe it's not actually for you to sit in. Maybe you're supposed to put Treek in there. It's like the little mini version of the Hummer that you see like toddlers drive.
Well,
you know what I'm talking about?
They said those ships that you're actually building for your hangar, for your garage and strongholds, is built for Jawas and for Treek.
So, like, Treek can have a little mini version of your ship.
Goopa noopa.
And somehow get back to Endor? Who knows?
I'm not even going to humor that discussion. Zuzi, what do we have coming up next?
Things that SWTOR Miner has data mined. Could be true or could never happen. Still, let's give our thoughts. So, first up, another stronghold may be coming on Corellia.
Why?
What do you think of Corellia, the planet that is in the midst of a civil war?
Yeah, who wants to live there?
That's going to be a bit tricky because, yeah, like you just said, right? You know, it's in the middle of civil war, and spoiler alert. Okay, even when you go back to do the dailies, even though you're either the hero or the conqueror of Corellia, you're still stuck in the same damn day. You're there, so how could you possibly have a peaceful, I guess, overlook like you would see on Nar Shaddaa or on Coruscant, Dromund Kaas, or Tatooine?
I seem to recall when you're doing the planetary quest, though, Darth somebody or other is
I know him.
Yeah, he's up in a ship above the planet. So you may be getting a stronghold that is a ship that's actually above the planet instead of on the surface.
Maybe it's going to be like the ghetto. You're going to have holes in the side of your apartment. I don't know.
No, or, I mean, there are some parts of the map on Corellia. I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh, was it Axial Park? Not Axial. The corporate park. I think where you infiltrate one of the corporate headquarters of one of the major corporations in Corellia. There's not a lot of fighting. There's no fighting going on there at all. It's relatively peaceful, since that area is, like, I guess, separated from the rest of the battlefield. So my guess is it would be in that one area on Brinkcamp right now, so what that area is called on the map. But I recall that one area is like you take the shuttlecraft there or a taxi there, and that's it. You don't see any ground fighting because you're actually fighting on one of the rooftop landing pads of that building, and then you infiltrate the building itself.
What if it's like a bunker? You know, the underground, like, little war-resistant bunkers that people made in, what is it, like the 60s? You can have all your canned goods line the wall, have candles everywhere. I don't know. I'm just... It doesn't make sense to me.
It is called a stronghold.
Yeah, so it actually could be a
Oh, Lou, you could be in the sewers with the Solonians.
Yeah. That's true. Or, you know, my hopeful optimism coming through, I know Corellia has 2 other moons. Talos and Trailus.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
They're not space stations either. But there are 2 moons that are planet-sized over Corellia.
Well, true, but whatever he found gives him the impression that a stronghold may be coming on Corellia itself.
Right.
And
so, yeah.
to recognize that, I would assume is something that he's already seen in the game.
Right. So yeah, it's either going to be one of that, like in a isolated area that's somehow, apart from the fighting. None of the fighting is actually taking place because there's no military or tactical advantage there because it's all probably it's just housing. So there's no corporate buildings there to take over, no facilities. It's just houses. So it kind of makes sense for them to hope no one would be there since it's not relevant to the war. Well, yeah, you get another floating sky palace like in Rashida, but this time it's on Corellia.
I don't know. I don't think that that's a good place. Just like, nah.
Yeah,
That's
I kind of wonder, with
who-
all the other planets in the game, why Corellia?
When you think about it logically, which is how I try to think about everything, who would buy something there? Like, who would buy land there? Oh, yeah, we have a good market. Oh, yeah, you do? Really?
I tell you what, looking toward the future, Alderaan would be the last planet I'd buy land on.
Yeah. Although at this point in time, Alderaan is actually one of the prettier looking planets in the game, along with Voss. See,
Yeah.
I would expect the stronghold probably coming later on would be Alderaan, and Voss. You get strongholds there as well.
Yeah, I would just have my character carve into the wall so all of their descendants would know. It would say the date of the stronghold being founded, and then it would put the little dash like a headstone, and it'd say 0 BBY. Just so everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So, Zizi, what else did Miner find?
A possible abbreviation for the new expansion might be SOE. What could that stand for?
I
Sony
got
Online Entertainment.
I wasn't going to say it.
Oh, they sold out to Sony.
I really don't know.
So, Lou, Lore Master, what do you think?
I'm actually racking my brain right now. SOE. Can't be Sword of Eternia because He-Man's got that.
SWTOR official expansion.
Shadows
Yeah.
of the Empire. Maybe the Empire strikes back again, but several thousand years before the Empire strikes back in Episode 5.
Strength
Spawn-
of Ewoks.
Spawn of the Emperor.
Oh, I like that.
Right. Because again, another spoiler alert, folks. Haven't played through it.
Yeah.
Because, remember, Kira is actually one of the, quote-unquote, offspring of the Emperor.
No, I was kind of thinking like the Emperor has like this twisted monstrosity that's actually his child, like Groot.
I am Groot.
Oh, why
He's
not
just
do it like
leveling
that?
an entire planet.
All right, we're getting a little ridiculous.
Well, Paige, what do you think SOE stands for?
I already told you, strength of Ewok.
Zizi?
No, they totally sold out to Sony.
So we're gonna take for granted that we have no idea right now.
I don't know. I don't like speculations anyway, so I don't even put any real thought into it.
No,
Well,
I'm
this
actually-
next one's pretty cool though.
All right.
A new look for Revan has been data-mined. Perhaps he's coming back in the next expansion.
Now, just look at this picture and tell me that Revan doesn't look like a BA Sith.
He looks like a punk.
I'd wear that.
Yeah, as long as they don't give him feathers like the Inquisitor look has.
I don't know. I like Revan's story and everything. I like the lore and everything, but I don't know. It's like, don't beat it to death. Really, don't. You know what I'd like to see instead of Revan coming back in the game? A Revan movie. Let's get on that. That'd be cool.
I would like to see some kind of Republic question where you could get the Revanite title.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're doing, kind of giving the other side a chance with it.
I doubt it. If you look at the way he looks there, he looks like he's back on the dark side.
Or maybe if you're a Revenant, he walked both paths, light and dark.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the good side. We got bacon and cookies.
Yeah, but when you actually encounter him in the game, he seems like he's stepped away from the Revanites.
I don't know. I think to Revan, I don't think he even acknowledges his little cult. I think he's just kind of like, okay, those are those little fangirls who just obsess over everything I do. I don't think he really puts any thought into them. Just like, oh, that's nice. They care. Ooh.
So, Revan looks at the Revanites like BioWare looks at us?
And that's not true. Come on, don't be like that.
So, I would guess from the way that this image looks, unless this is blurred because of some data mining thing, it looks almost like somebody is going to have a flashback of Revan when he was a Sith. Because his mask is in the possession of the Revanites right now.
Right.
Maybe he kills that ugly chick down there and he's like, this be mine.
Ladra?
Yeah, Laudra.
Maybe a Malak flashback.
Ooh,
Who knows?
that would be interesting.
You know, they take you back through a particular part of, Reverend Malak's story. Because remember, those two were fighting a grand campaign to take over the Republic. And maybe when they bring him back, it's actually, you're going to see more of the story behind Revan, but through his eyes or maybe through someone else's eyes that actually was there with him. Which would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool to actually see firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of things that are pretty cool, well, not really. What do you got for us this week, Paige?
This actually is cool. Why you do this? For the Star Wars recommendation for the week, I went back to thinkgeek.com because I love it there. The recommendation this week is you can choose between Darth Vader or Stormtrooper rubber floor mats for your car, truck, SUV, TIE Fighter, X-Wing, Death Star, whatever. The only thing I don't like about them is like the Stormtrooper ones, they're white. And, well, I mean, they're either gray or black, but, a Stormtrooper's face is white. And if you're going to be putting your feet on it, it's going to get nasty. But the Darth Vader ones are so perfect for my car because my car is gray and black and all, like, the lights in the interior are red. And I'm like, oh, my God, I want these Darth Vader ones so bad. So if anyone wants to get me something for Christmas, I'll give you my address, totally. Not really. Don't come to my house.
So pretty much, the Stormtrooper one, the more you use it, the more it looks like the Stormtrooper's actually been in battle. He's a hardened soldier.
I guess. Looks like he's been kicked in the face a few times if your foot never moves.
So which one would you pick, ZZ? Darth Vader or Stormtrooper?
Oh, I'd totally go Darth Vader.
Woohoo!
That's the smart choice.
I'm a smart guy.
Mini logic.
The other one would have ended up with you getting shoved in an escape pod. So, now we're on to the highlight of the show. Lou, what do you got for us in the intelligence report?
All right, thank you very much. Today is the conclusion for the Galactic Republic. This is part 5. And here we go. The relationship with the Jedi. When the formation of the Galactic Republic occurred in 25,053 years before the Battle of Yavin, the Jedi Order had already existed for several hundred years on the planet Tython. Within a century since the Republic's conception, the Order pledged its support for the new government and thus became formally answerable to the Galactic Senate. But despite the Jedi's allegiance to the Senate, the Order had always enjoyed a great degree of autonomy to act as they saw fit, especially regarding internal Jedi affairs. Nevertheless, for thousands of years, the Jedi Order members consistently served the Senate in a variety of capacities, whether as special emissaries, peacekeepers, or warriors. But as the Republic gradually expanded its sphere of influence over the known galaxy, the unprecedented level of peace and prosperity also led to a virtually irreversible trend in corruption, decadence, and stagnation, especially amongst elected officials of the Senate. Yet throughout all that time, the Jedi Order maintained its traditions and principles, often acting as a beacon of honor and integrity within a society that was becoming increasingly amoral and unjust. The Republic government's decline into greed and complacency was not lost on the Jedi either. Many within the Order loathed the thought of being accountable to an ineffectual system that was too large and disorganized to efficiently counter the growing list of problems that plagued the Republic and its citizens. Throughout its long history, the Jedi were forced to intervene on behalf of the Senate by diffusing internal and external threats to the Republic's stability. During the New Sith Wars, the Order was even forced to take a more hands-on approach to government itself, mainly by commandeering the executive office of Supreme Chancellor due to the Senate's inability to counter the danger that the Sith posed to Republic primacy throughout the galaxy. It would take an entire millennium before the Jedi could risk leaving the government to its devices once more. After the Sith were presumably destroyed in the conclusion of the Seventh Battle of Ruusan, the Jedi Order was able to enjoy 1,000 years of keeping the peace throughout the Republic without having to worry about another galactic-scale war. Though the demilitarization of the Republic armed forces place an even greater burden on the Order, Jedi handled their responsibilities well enough to ensure that the Republic's stability was not threatened by the sudden lack of a strong military force. As the Republic reached the twilight of its existence, relations between the Jedi Order and the Galactic Government on Coruscant had grown strained more than ever. The Senate was filled by a large majority of self-serving delegates who cared nothing for the troubles of their constituents, effectively reducing the few honest members to an ineffective collection of senators with little hope of restoring honesty to the august body. The Jedi Council grew even more disdainful of the Senate, to the point where they believed that no politician could ever be trusted. Likewise, the Senate began losing faith in their ancient protectors. As the Separatist crisis worsened to the point where the galaxy was on the verge of being split in two halves, many senators came to doubt the Order's ability to safeguard the Republic or its government. Despite the evident animosity between the Order and the legislature, the Senate wasted no time in commissioning the Jedi as officers in the newly formed Grand Army of the Republic. Throughout the conflict with the Separatist traitors, the Jedi Order acted once more as the Senate's armed instrument by leading millions of soldiers and amassing countless victories on various battlefields throughout the galaxy. But even as the Jedi championed the Republic cause and led its army to ultimate victory over the Separatists, the relationship between the Order and the Senate was nowhere near to discovering any prospects for improvement. The tension reached its climax when the Jedi Council contemplated the idea of seizing control of the Senate, an action they would have only taken if they removed Chancellor Palpatine from office by force. Hence, the Council had evidently lost all faith in the Senate's ability to preserve the Republic's stability in time of crisis. After the Council failed to arrest Palpatine, the public facade of the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, the Senate did not hesitate to rid itself of its Jedi Guardians by doing nothing as the Great Jedi Purge commenced through the Order 66 and Operation Nightfall. With the Jedi virtually neutralized, and with the Senate under the control of the Sith, Palpatine easily reorganized the Republic into the First Galactic Empire with himself as Emperor. Throughout Palpatine's declaration of a new order, the vast majority of the Senate applauded the extremely radical amendments that officially brought an end to a republic that had existed for over 25,000 years. At the same time, the Jedi were being hunted down and annihilated by the Empire, while the Senate made no attempt to intercede on behalf of the religious organization that protected them since the founding of the Republic. For thousands of years, the Jedi Order stayed true to the allegiance of the Galactic Senate, even in the worst of times when the legislature reached the zenith of its corruption, only to be betrayed and abandoned by the elected officials that they were sworn to serve and protect. When the Senate was reformed after the fall of the Empire and the rise of the New Republic, the undeniable advantage the Jedi contributed to the Old Republic convinced the new Senate to promote the restoration of the Jedi Order. Throughout most of its history, the Jedi Order personified the nobility of the Galactic Republic. The mere existence of the Order enabled the Republic to exist as the pinnacle of galactic civilization, in spite of an incredibly corrupt and inefficient legislature. Without the Jedi Order, the Republic would have collapsed under the Senate's dead weight long before its time, a fact that was proven when the near elimination of the Jedi allowed Darth Sidious to transform the Republic into the Empire. To better improve the chances of preserving the fledgling New Republic, the Senate recognized the necessity of ensuring the Order's full reconstitution. Even after the New Republic reorganized itself into the Galactic Alliance, a government that more closely resembled the Old Republic, the Jedi gradually resumed their former role as peacekeepers and emissaries for the Galactic Alliance Senate. By 44 years after the Battle of Yavin, the relationship between the Jedi and the government was strikingly similar to their former association with the Old Republic Senate, which culminated with another Jedi coup d'etat against the government, one that actually succeeded in the overthrow of a tyrannical head of state and with the approval of the Senate. Now on to the economy. The Galactic Republic's influence in the galactic economy was linked to its regulatory powers, production of Republic dataries, and authorization of relevant bodies. At the heart of the galactic economy was planetary trade. Interplanetary trade could support a local economy, but in many cases, the high levels of economic interaction and the massive scale of exchange required for an advanced society could only be funded by interplanetary exports. While some planets maintained their own shipping fleets, most relied on large freight firms, such as SWTOR transport systems or independent freight haulers to carry their goods along major hyperlanes. That's Kimbrai. The corporate sector was first formed in 490 years before the Battle of Yavin to free the Republic lawmakers and the corporate moneymakers from their differences. In the last millennia of the Galactic Republic, commercial interests began to form guilds to increase their influence on relevant legislation and achieve greater efficiency. While most of these guilds, like the Trade Federation, Techno-Union, and the Commerce Guild, collapsed after the Clone Wars, a number of surviving members flocked to the corporate sector authority. thousands of currencies were used across the galaxy. The Galactic Republic's dataries were perhaps the most widespread form of currency. Because of the Republic's exceptional membership, dataries were accepted on all but the most remote planets. From its inception, the credit was backed by the immense wealth of the planet Moonlist and the Intergalactic Banking Clan. During the Clone Wars, the IGBC backed the currencies of both sides. All working beings were required to pay income taxes, which were collected by the Public Tax Collection Agency. In the later years of the Galactic Republic, a transit tax of 15% was levied to raise revenue from the government. Society and culture. The Galactic Republic had a very diverse culture. Member worlds were able to maintain their own culture in accordance with local beliefs, customs, and traditions. There was a wide variety of different cultures within the Republic, from religious communities like the Jedi to hive-like communes. The Republic had a liberal policy towards arts. Also, the dominant aesthetic style of the Galactic Republic era was opulence and ornamentation. Although humanocentrism was technically outlawed by the Rights of Sentience Clause of the Galactic Constitution, it still very much existed throughout the life of the Galactic Republic. Human-led organizations such as Zerka enslaved entire non-human races, while planetary governments such as that of Taris reserved the best sections of the world for humans, while forcing non-humans to ghettos. The majority of slaves in the galaxy were non-humans. At the time the Clone Wars broke out, there were still lawsuits pending about pro-human bias in the Republic government. The military. The Republic's earliest days were not peaceful ones, since, as the Republic expanded across the galaxy, it encountered many warlike species. The Republic realized the need for an army and navy to keep the peace. The Republic's military forces would serve throughout many conflicts, including the Great Hyperspace War, the various conflicts of the old Sith Wars, and the new Sith Wars, as well as the absolutely ravenous Great Galactic War. After the Ruusan campaign, the Republic decommissioned most of its military, retaining a small force only for security purposes. This force would later become known as the Judicial Department. This was to display the Republic's peaceful ideals, as the Republic used Jedi Knights as keepers of the peace. Several trade corporations, such as the Trade Federation, the Intergalactic Banking Clan, and the Commerce Guild, kept their own security forces in order to protect their profits, but they often abused this power, such as in the Battle of Naboo. Individual sectors also maintained their own security forces, such as Naboo's Royal Naboo Security Forces or Coruscant from Corellia, and these were sometimes used to combat small threats. However, there was no centralized command, and the members of the late period Republic loathed change. The Clone Wars changed all this. The Republic had no steady military to combat the Confederacy of Independent Systems, and thus a Military Creation Act was proposed, which was strongly opposed by many of the Republic's pacifist leaders such as Padme Amidala of Naboo, who feared the possibility of going to war. Supporters of the Military Creation Act included Orn Free Taa of Ryloth and Ask-Ok of Malstar. However, a clone army had already been created in secret on the remote planet Camino 10 years earlier. When it became clear that the Confederacy had no intention of negotiating with the Republic adopted this army in a combined force known as the Grand Army of the Republic. This army was unleashed in 22 years before the Battle of Yavin and Geonosis against the Separatist droid forces. These loyal troops would serve in many battles throughout the conflict and on worlds such as Moonlist, Dak, Jabim, Praeslin, Kate Nemodia, which doesn't count, and even Coruscant. Ever since the unveiling of the Republic's secret clone army, clones found themselves to be at the center of a great controversy throughout the Clone Wars. While virtually all of the clones professed their unwavering loyalty to the Republic and their desire to fight and die for it, ultimately clones were either pitied by some sympathizing individuals or despised and not trusted by others. While Jedi such as Atane Turmeric Khan sympathized with the clones and developed an affinity with them, others like Ram Koda immensely distrusted the clones and felt that non-clone combatants made better soldiers on the battlefield. Regardless of the perceived slave army status and all attempts to treat the clones humanely, sympathy and an increasing reliance on the clones was a grievous error on the Republic's part, as Order 66 and the rise of the Empire would prove. Under the Galactic Republic, there were those who cared for the clones and how they felt. Under the Galactic Empire, they would never be perceived as anything more than what they were, a product and a disposable army of droid-like human soldiers. In 19 years before the Battle of Yavin, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine transformed the Galactic Republic into the Galactic Empire. The loyal clone troopers of the Grand Army of the Republic would become the dreaded stormtroopers of the Stormtrooper Corps, while the regulars and starships were segmented into the Imperial Army and Imperial Navy, respectively. However, due to the fact that the clones aged at twice the rate of ordinary humans, recruits and conscripts would finally be implemented into the Stormtrooper ranks, much to the quiet dismay of Jango Fett's clones. While the Stormtrooper Corps remained evenly divided between clones and birth-born soldiers, cloning had been virtually phased out as the remnants of the fallen Empire were forced to rely completely on ordinary humans and non-humans alike, thus phasing out the last remnants of the Galactic Republic's clone army. And the last topic, astrography. The Galactic Republic was composed of a significant portion of the known galaxy, stretching from the core worlds to at least partially the outer rim territories, though it was widely believed that the government held little power in the outlying regions, and preferred to focus its attentions on the core worlds and colonies. The exact number of planets in the Republic fluctuated, ranging from 3 million worlds to just over 1,000. But in 21 years before the Battle of Yavin, it was little less than 1.3 million planets, with some 10 to 40,000 systems controlled by the Separatists. The Senate was in control of thousands of star systems, while more than 200 systems had defected to join the Confederacy, if it had been systems by the time Palpatine finally ended the Republic. The capital of the Galactic Republic was Coruscant, a planet considered to be the cultural and economic center of the galaxy, despite being located outside of the deep core. To signify its importance in galactic affairs, Coruscant was given coordinates 0, 0, 0 in the standard galactic coordinate system. And this concludes the epic tale of the Galactic Republic. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I want to say thank you to the Wikipedia, StarWars.com, TheForce.net, and other Star Wars sites for providing me access to this lore. Folks, if you enjoy the Star Wars lore as much as I do, please visit these sites and look at the topics and enjoy.
Thank goodness we're done talking about the weak faction. Next, we start with the Sith Empire, Part 1 of 10,000. No?
I'll get working on that. Yeah.
Okay.
On my to-do list.
It looks like it's my stop. I must go hunt bounty.
Alright, I'm gonna put you in an escape pod. And
Okay.
don't
See-
open the door until you land.
See you after I make 250,000 credits.
Yeah, maybe. We
I'll
might
pick-
come back.
I'll pick you up on the way back. Don't worry about that.
That would be swell.
No. Blue, we're right over Supa's palace, right?
According to... No, she changed the coordinates.
What? Do we have a heading? What? Where are we going?
We're launching Zizi into Supa's backyard.
Oh, we're not even in that sector.
Oh, fine, you're gonna have to settle for Quesh. It's a lovely planet.
Enjoy.
Goodbye.
There goes that jerk.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna come back and pick him up because you guys are weird.
Maybe.
You guys are weird. I gotta have someone normal up here with me.
You think he's normal?
Lou with his light side decisions. You with your crazy split personality. I gotta have somebody up here who makes some sense.
Freak.
No! No, I don't want the front to smell like pee.
Why didn't you put her in the escape pod with Zizi?
Should have put her in his helmet.
Anyway, Lou, what's coming up in the holo feed?
Alright, next up, the Community Holo Feed, where we talk about your emails, tweets, and Facebook feedback. And as always, quick reminder, the trivia question of the week. Each week we're going to post a trivia question into our YouTube video version of the show. Simply go to StarWarsBeyond.com and we'll link you right to the episode. On the episode page, there will be a button for you to press to see the trivia question of the week. Alternatively, it'll always be after we say our goodbyes. Then, shoot us an email with your answer to StarWarsBeyond@gmail.com. In your email, please include your character name, your faction please, and what server you are on.
What was that thing after character name?
Yes, faction please.
Okay.
It saves us from having to create characters on both factions again. Not to be mine, but it helps narrow the process down. If there is more than one correct answer, we'll do a random drawing to win a cartel pack. Everyone that answers correctly will be entered into a drawing for a much larger prize, which we'll draw on the show every few months. You can be entered into the grand prize drawing every time that you answer correctly. So, last week's winner is Christopher S., who correctly guessed the answer was the Sand People, or the Tusken Raiders, as some call them as well, for Assault on Fort Tusken. So congratulations, Chris. Be on the lookout for your cartel pack in the mail. In-game mail, that is.
In the mail. Now, with this week's question, you guys are going to have 2 weeks to get us some answers.
Correct. And as Fred mentioned last week, depending on how things go in terms of people responding, if it's a little too hard, if people think it's a little too much, let us know. And what I'll do is I'll provide an extra clue every couple of days. All right, I'll give you one more clue after maybe 2 days or so.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Mm-hmm.
So, quickly, I'm going to go over the feedback we got on Twitter over the last week. At MaterX, this is Lewis, said, LMAO. I had the answer to the question. I sent it to the wrong email. LOL.
Yeah.
He's responding to our first week trivia question, Lou, where we got no answers.
Oh, right. Yes.
Apparently he had it correct. He just sent it to the wrong place.
Oh, better luck next time.
Taldoon. If you're looking for a pub guild on the Shadowlands, hit up Wook. Which I have actually heard of Wook. They seem like a decent guild over on Shadowlands. Scott Yee. You know that server bug? The one, he's talking about the one where if you switch servers, you can't log in. He says, you know that server bug? It allows you to create a new tune. Create one, then log out, and log into the tune you want. I kind of feel like it was easier just to restart the client.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. Because if I'm going to make a character, I'm going to make them look good.
Well, a lot of loading screens.
Yeah.
Do it that way. Redna, you guys are nuts. Lightside Warrior story changes very little, and the end makes no sense. Only Jaisa makes it interesting. Inquisitor is a little different, and so racist in the beginning as to be unbearable. It's not racist, it's speciest. And really, it's not even a race thing. It's your caste in life. They keep berating you because you're a former slave.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he goes on to say, how crazy would it be if your lore segment became a prophecy for the real-world outcome of the EU? First class played always colors perception. Loved the smuggler, and it gets so much hate.
You see,
as we cut our eyes over a page.
I like my smuggler. I think it's fun.
I just started my smuggler, so I'm holding judgment back. I saw she's only level 19, so I barely scratched the story for the smuggler.
Hey, I like my Chiss smuggler that I got running around in a Republic officer's uniform.
Yeah, who's hating on it? Is it like other people? Because I like it.
I haven't heard anybody hate on the smuggler story. Even back when the game first launched, everybody said that's the story for comic relief.
I mean, I do get some chuckles out of it, and I appreciate that if something can amuse me mildly.
I mean, I guess one thing I get trying to see from the other side that players may have an issue with is the fact that it's, I guess, one of the stories that makes no direct connection between the Force users. You have no real connection to either the Jedi or the Sith. And just like the Mountain Hunter, you're purely in a mercenary role, so to speak. I mean, you're just a space captain for hire for the Republic. You had no real ties to anything. And so I guess for a lot of players, they just don't feel a connection to either serving the Republic or, you feel any hatred for the Empire since they're so freelance. What really is their gig? Like, why do they stay and serve the Republic then?
Same could really be said for bounty hunters, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only reason they did it that way is because they said they based it off of the first 3 movies, and Han Solo sided with the Republic, and Boba Fett sided with the Empire.
I'm like ZZ, I do it for the money.
And at Mark_SWTOR, patching continues slowly. Soundtrack? Star Wars Beyond Episode 1. Smuggler was my first as well. Will always hold a special place. I think I need to run Agent more to find the love. Madmar, who has the best point here. My first and best was Sith Warrior, and still my main. Jay Connell.
Jay.
About destroyed my spacebar on the consular. Too much political intrigue for me. Knight seems a little more front line.
Despite the fact that he's Republic. I like that he's just like, nope, too much political garbage. Nope. Because that's how I feel. I'm like, nope, spacebar.
And Jason Brown, who was very upset on Twitter when Galactic Strongholds opened up early access to find out that since his subscription had lapsed a few days beforehand, he wasn't able to get into the Nar Shaddaa Stronghold, even though he was subscribed at the interval that he needed to be. And I tweeted back at him and told him that I'm pretty sure he's going to get the Nar Shaddaa Palace with the rooms unlocked. He just has to wait for the actual launch of Galactic Strongholds. And he tweeted back, "Guess I'll find out in a month." So we wish you luck, Jason. We hope that you do have the Nar Shaddaa Stronghold that you paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
And Paige, we got an email.
Okay, Dakar wrote, "Hello to all the crew." Well, hello, Dakar. Okay. Loving the new show.
What was that? Why did one of the Muppets just greet Dakar?
I don't know. I'm just having fun. He says, "I can't. Don't make me laugh. Don't turn the giggle box on because then I won't be able to turn it off." He says, "Hello to all the crew. Loving the new show. Laughed out loud when Korf dropped the Jedi off the balcony edge on Nar Shaddaa, and very happy you have a sassy girl there to keep you in line." That's right. I ran across this on the internet and immediately thought of you guys and your fun recommendation segment. It's a Haynes manual for the Death Star. He included a link. It's on Amazon. If the link doesn't work, I'm writing from my phone, then you should be able to Google it. Hope you like it.
Oh, Lou, I seem to remember you recommending something similar to this in the past.
Yes, actually, Haynes has actually done a couple of manuals like that, and for those who aren't familiar, Haynes is they are very technical, very detailed manual on how on the products that they cover. So when they say it's a Haynes manual for the Death Star, you will actually get the complete technical readouts of that battle station. You're going to get everything, like layouts of levels, where things are, where things go, proportions, dimensions, everything on the Death Star.
That sounds really technical and gross.
That sounds really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't put things together, so if I wanna buy a manual for how to put a Death Star together, I buy the manual and I go, "Fred, here you go, build us a Death Star."
Buy the manual and get about $20,000 worth of Legos.
So we can put it in our garage and never do anything with it.
So, Paige, what do we have going on in the SWTOR community this week?
Check out these up-to-date podcast episodes. We have Corellian Run Radio, episode 124 on CorellianRun.com. That was on the 19th of August. UntiniCast, episode 160, available at UntiniCast.com since the 21st. The Unnamed SWTOR podcast, episode 54, also posted on the 24th, can be found at GadokGaming.com. SWTOR Skate podcast, episode 52, available at NewOverlords.com since the 19th. Old Republic Radio, episode 74, available the 19th, also available on iTunes. Healing SWTOR released another episode on the 15th to iTunes. Enmity Podcast, episode 49, released the 18th to iTunes. The Bad Feeling Podcast, episode 28, posted on the 21st to iTunes and badfeelingpodcast.com. Be warned that podcast is explicit. Also follow Madmar at SWTOR Family for the latest happenings in the SWTOR community. If you'd like to have your podcast listed on this segment, send us an email at starwarsbeyond@gmail.com.
And now I'll run down all the ways you can get a hold of us. You can find out more about the show at starwarsbeyond.com. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/StarWarsBeyondPodcast. You can send us an email, starwarsbeyond@gmail.com. That's where your trivia question entries should go. And you can tweet us. The show is at StarWarsBeyond. I am at Sith Lord Korv, Korv. Lou is at GamerGuy11B. Paige is at Asaphiry, Asaphiry. And ZZ, who we just launched off into the unknown, is at ZZ Corrode.
Did you hear that, Jay? Did you hear it? My Twitter handle's in the show.
Now it's time for our final thoughts.
Well, I hope ZZ actually landed on that planet, because I don't even know where we are.
Don't worry, I angled it toward the sun.
Oh, noes.
Well, that's quite a roasting he's going to get. Hopefully he'll survive long enough for us to get him back.
Roasted
Doesn't matter.
ZZ.
He left his credit chip here.
Oh, very nice.
Join me in rubbing our hands maniacally.
Oh, my final thoughts. I can't wait to get back in game, and I'm actually going to try and advance more of the storyline for Oricon on both my Marauder and my Inquisitor, so I can unlock another source of potential income and upgrades for my characters there.
And my final thought is I plan on getting in the game as soon as we're done with this, and hopefully I can ding 50 on my Miraluka Jedi Knight. Wish me luck, everybody.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Oh, good luck!
Mandated luck.
Oh, yeah, it's totally sincere.
With that, Beyond the Stars is an independently recorded fan podcast made in association with NSG Productions. And now it's time to say goodnight.
Good night, everyone in chat on YouTube and iTunes.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. See you all again next time.
And good night, everyone. And in place of ZZ, tell him good night, Tree. There you have it. Good night, everyone.
You've served your purpose.
Beyond the Stars, trivia question for the week of August 25th, 2014. First clue. Born from an ancient warrior culture, I saw peace as a new future for my people. Second clue. My ideals and commitment to peace and prosperity shattered my people into a civil war. Third clue. During this conflict, I will meet the only person I would love. But we both chose service to a greater ideal rather than be together. Fourth clue. In a time of galactic crisis, I kept my people uninvolved and soon led a coalition of governments committed to neutrality. Fifth and final clue. Ousted from power and murdered in my own throne room, with my last breath, I reaffirm my love for my guardian and protector. Who am I? Good luck, everyone, and please remember to send in your answers to our email, starwarsbeyond@gmail.com. Please include your character name, what faction you're in, and the server you play in. Again, good luck.